Hi, everybody. I'm Patricia Rockman from the Center for Mindfulness Studies. And with me today is my good friend, Alex Anderson, who is a filmmaker and retired professor from Ryerson in film, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And so we've been chatting, and I just asked her if I could do an interview with her because I thought what she had to say was really interesting. So, Alex, so we were just talking about how it is living in this time and then being on our own. And so I'm curious as to like how you're experiencing it, because you're not really going out very much at all, right?
No, I'm not going out. I actually thought about this even in anticipation of talking to you. So I do like talking to you about things that are important. But no, I think it's quite unusual, unique in a way that I live alone, and I am like socially isolating. It's kind of um, sort of a non sequitur because I am socially isolated as a lifestyle choice almost. And now I'm even more removed from, the world outside. I have great views though. I can look from my windows and see the rest of the world, which is totally sufficient right now. But no, so being alone, one does end up thinking about oneself, perhaps a little too much, and there's this sort of constant dialogue going on in your head. I'm sure this happens to everybody, and probably more so now as we're kind of intensely thinking about what's going on. But I had this idea, I think today, was that I love my flat, um, but I am the flat now, and the flat is me. The flat is my world. And sometimes it's wonderful because, as I say, I love it, and there's lots of windows, and I can go from one room that has one activity kind of designed for it. I can go to another room and maybe cook, or I go to a room and watch television. Then I get to go to sleep in my bedroom. Like I have a whole world that's my flat. And I can be very happy in it. And the whole day can be sort of scheduled around which room I'm in. Or so it takes on its own geography, if you like. Like now I'll go over there, like to another room. Like so it's very methodical. It seems to be part of my routine is to take different places in my flat. But then at the same time, my flat is all I have. And
Yeah.
my flat is my world, and the voices in my head start to resound off the walls of the flat. And it's just me talking. And and sometimes I feel like just the negative critical voice is making a big presence in these walls. You're by yourself, you have no one else to filter or tell you to shut up, which would be useful sometimes. But and I just noticed that sometimes the flat becomes too small
Right.
for those negative voices. Like I need to get out there and expand my self-hate. I don't know. So it's contained. I'm containing it. But I notice it's an effort to contain it. That's what I'm doing because I only have my flat. So every room is full of my self-loathing sometimes. And I need to open a window and let it out a bit. Normally I would go out and see people or do something, but now I can't do that. So I'm here taking up every space in less than positive ways. But that goes away. I do open a window, I Zoom, I do yoga, and that eventually quietens down. But it just made me think this is my world, and it's very contained. That's
And it's interesting, because I think of things in terms of practice. And, what you're also describing is a lot of awareness of your experience in the flat and the apartment. And that, there's a way in which, like, Alex, and the apartment, there's this interdependence and this confluence also of boundaries, whether that's positive or negative. And then sometimes it's, like you said, sometimes it's lovely, and then other times it's not. And so how do you manage that? And so you're describing some strategies or some things that you do to manage that. And sometimes you're just with it and hang out there with it. And then sometimes you open the window, or like you said, you um, make a change, like, go on Zoom or do yoga. Or so I'm curious then, being on your own in this situation, especially because there are a lot of people who I think aren't, aren't don't have the same attitude that you have. So I'm curious about people who are on their own, like, how do you manage it? Because I know that, that, like you said, it's a lifestyle choice. So I'm curious.
Well, you know what's, we're both talking about what's positive about this period, right? And I think it's that we're all having private lives. Our lives are now essentially private. We've been, withdrawn into our own worlds. And I feel I'm sharing the reality of my life with a lot of the actual texture of my life has always been a private life that I haven't shared with someone right next to me. I mean, and now a lot of people are doing that in in a slightly different way, often living with family members or whatever. But we've all been kind of withdrawn into our private life. And I kind of feel like I'm part of an army of people having this experience. So my experience is not that so eccentric
Right.
as it is pre-COVID. You
Huh.
know what I mean? Because we're all indoors and we're all talking to ourselves. We're all muttering in corners, and that is my life even before COVID. But so I'm kind of like, I think maybe other people that live on their own or might be also enjoying a sense of camaraderie with people like, with you live with Brian and you have people, normally have a lot of people in your life, but now we're all reduced to sort of the essential members of our family. And in my case, it's just me. And I feel kind of part of a larger group.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never thought about it before, but you kind of got me thinking about it.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? So there's this way in which we are, physically isolated and yet very aware that we are part of something bigger and that everybody's going through something similar, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that helps the loneliness or the sense of failure you might feel being on your own. But yeah, that actually makes me feel I'm better equipped than other people.
Yes, that's
I've got this covered. No, but but still, I just want to share that it isn't always easy.
no,
I've
no.
had years of experience, and there are good days and bad days.
Yeah, and one of the best things that you have and that I love so much is humor, and I think that is so helpful, right? And
Yeah.
it's really, really helpful during these times. Okay, great. Thank
Okay.
you. That's
Yeah,
great.
that's
Okay,
great.
everybody. Thanks
Okay.
for listening. I have to figure out how to turn the recording off. Ah, there it is.